Hi, Tony Poulos here. I have with me Ronald van Klernen, who is the Managing Director of Singapore firm Globeron Security. Ron, welcome along. We're at DataCentres Asia 2008 at the moment in Singapore, and I'm hearing about standardisation. What does that mean for data centres?
To standardize your data center, when you operate a data center, also the outside world, they also will look to see from how do you operate your data center according to certain standards. So an example could be like ISO 20000, which is an international standard by the ISO organization for IT service management. From how do we manage all your processes in a certain way so that you can react to outages very quickly. Another standard is ISO 27001, which is a standard for IT security management. And that means from how do you manage all your processes in case there is a security attack. How do you make sure that your data center is in a healthy state and that it operates properly. There are actually a few more standards coming up by Big C. And there is another standard which is TIE, EIE 942. And this standard actually is dividing the data center in 4 tiers. So tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 and tier 4. Now in this case the tier 4 is the best of the best data center. So an example could be if you have a data center with a single internet connection, that is not a tier 4 data center. But if you have 2 different types of internet connections, you have higher reliability of your connections to the outside world, so you grade your data center in this way. And there are many other rules to follow.
What bodies determine the standards?
The bodies, like I actually mentioned, is like the ISO, the International Standard Organization. Big C is now playing part in it. TIE, EIE is an organization from the US also looking those standardizations on an organizational level. Yeah.
Is the growth in wireless traffic driving the data center needs?
Certainly, because what happens now, more and more people get mobile phones, they get Blackberries, they get a mobile device like a laptop, and everybody wants to communicate to each other, sending an SMS, downloading email, downloading that video. So those data, those information is somewhere stored centrally in a data center. So the more people get connected online and access to it will drive the capacity of the data centers.
Let's talk about security, particularly across international boundaries. Who has to comply with what rules?
What happens now, you see that the demand in Asia for data centers is very big. So they're sending up more and more data centers in Asia. But the companies using the data centers, they are from Europe or from US. So now they store their servers inside those data centers in Asia. Now the question is, from a security perspective, is it allowed to have that data in that certain country to store it? Because maybe you don't comply to the law or to the regularities of the certain country. Maybe you don't comply to the US laws if you store your data in a data center in Laos, for example. So you need to look from compliance perspective as well, if that data is secured properly, if that data center is also managing that data in a secured way.
Are there actually rules determining traffic across international boundaries?
Yeah, as far as I know, there are no rules, but the way how internet is connected is actually using so-called IX, internet exchanges. And at those borders, basically the different countries, they can control what type of traffic is going across the boundary. So they can put some security features in place to filter certain data traffic, to arrange that. Because some data maybe is not allowed to flow from one country to another country. So then from a country perspective, you need to block that traffic.
If you're running a data center, are you responsible for its security? And what happens if your center is hacked?
If you're the CEO of a data center, of course you're accountable for the operations of your data center, because you have the responsibility to your end users that the services are first available, secondly that they are performing properly, because otherwise your end users will complain to it. Thirdly, security needs to be implemented, because I don't feel comfortable if I host my data, my confidential data, which I outsource for a business continuity or disaster recovery perspective if I host it in your data center and it is not secured properly. So it's very important that security compliance is in place.
Ronald van Clernen, thank you very much for being with us.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, thank you very much.